What's up YouTube, Barcode here. I'm back with another Heir of Light video. This video is going to be for the new players coming into the game. What to do, what to focus on. I'm going to try to go as quick as possible so I don't make this video 30 minutes because I know myself and I just elaborate on everything to try to be very detailed in my explanations. So let's just get on to the video, what you new players need to focus on and what goals you should have, because you should always have goals and gotchas. I say it all the time. Alright, so I have been gone from this game for about 9 months, so I am very behind. I am starting to catch up pretty quickly, but I am still very behind. I've done major improvements to my account, but I need a lot more work. So how am I going to get there? First, let's look into what is currently endgame status, right? So we have full gear, 8 pieces of gear, mind you, okay? You get an extra piece when you awaken to the 3rd awakening. You get a neck piece, which, can I show anything? There we go. So you get a neck piece, okay? I put it on Dark Dunk Hound because he's probably the best Nat 3 healer in the game. But you get a extra piece of gear when you awaken to the 3rd awakening. You also get the ring piece when you awaken it to the 5th awakening. Now, what else do you need to be successful? You need to be transcending your characters, okay? The way to transcend is like my Fire Hide, whatever you want to call them. You decide. My Fire ID is level 64, and that's because I transcended 2 duplicate Fire Hides, whatever, to increase him every 2 levels. So as you can see here, transcend, you need an identical 6-star servant that can be used as transcend material. Once you 6-star an extra duplicate of that Nat 5 or Nat 4 or Nat 3, whatever, once you 6-star it, you can feed it, and then he will increase a transcendence. Then you level it up to 66. Then you level it up to 68 after another transcendence. So that is another end game area where we need to get to, okay? So we have awakening, we have gears, we have transcendence. What else do you need? Let's talk about skill ups. So skill ups are very important. Let's take Fire Lara, for example. She's a staple in OMEN teams because of damage over time. Damage over time deals damage according to the enemy's max HP, okay? So the higher the health points that a boss enemy has, unless they're immune to damage over time, like Hide dungeon, then you'll do more damage, okay, with the higher the health points are. So look at skill ups, for example, okay? This skill from Fire Lara, which deals damage over time, has a 70% chance to land. If you don't put skill ups in it, it's hardly ever gonna land, okay, because it has a 70% chance for 1. Then you have to look into accuracy versus resistance and all that crap, right? So once you start skilling it up and you see level 3 debuff activation rate up 10, then when you get to level 7 it's another 20%, which makes it 100. So now all you have to deal with is accuracy versus resistance. Let's also look at passives. So passives are awesome and very important as well, especially when you get to the 4th awakening. Once you get to the 4th awakening, which is later mid-game, I guess you could say, that's when team comps really become important, because if you have an ally, for example, Fire Heidi, if you have an ally, these names, man, Imrigia, right? Emmy. I'm gonna call her Emmy. If you have an ally, Emmy is present, your HP increases by 100%. And look, I do have one, but he needs to be awoken to the 4th level in order to get that passive. So the passives aren't important early game, but it's something to think about when you're able to farm like floor 11s of the element stones, okay? But Nat 5s aren't the only ones that have them. Some of the Nat 4s, like Nature Enoch, for example, they have it. So you always have to look into when you can get to that point. Team comps are definitely super important. Also, with these skills, they have primary marks, okay, on the ultimates. You never really want to mix, you never want to put a lot of the same marks into your team comps, because once you use the ultimate on one, it will lower everyone else's ultimate mark that has the same one. So in essence, so there's going to be some people that aren't even using theirs, especially if this is built, like if this character, let's take Water Lucian, for example, has this up arrow mark right here, okay? One of my DPS units has the same mark. Say my Water Lucian is faster, okay, and then she uses her ultimate, it lowers my damage dealing mark, and then my Water Lucian possibly could be even faster than my damage dealer, and then ult again, and then my damage dealer never uses that third skill, that ultimate. So it sucks. So you kind of want to spread out your marks when you're making team comps. Also, just real quick, there is a primary mark and a secondary mark for a reason. They're called combos. Okay, if primary mark of damage dealer is the up arrow, you see how the secondary mark is? If there's anybody on your team that has a primary mark of the person using the skill of the secondary mark, like you see how this down arrow, okay, look at Dark Dunkelhound, okay, he has a down arrow. So essentially, if my Dark Lucian uses the third skill, there is a chance that my Dark Dunkelhound will also use a third skill on a combo on that same turn. Okay, this can also go back and forth. So you see how the secondary mark is here, but that's the primary mark of Dark Lucian. They can go back and forth. The secondary person that combos doesn't lose that the skill gauge in his ultimate. So it's great, and I can kind of show you real quick what that would look like. Alright, so I'm going to try to show you, if it works, what I'm talking about. So Dark Lucian is going to use his ultimate first. Hopefully I get a combo from Dark Dunkelhound. I don't. It's a low chance, but it can work. Now, Dark Dunkelhound is going to go, hopefully my Dark Lucian combos off of it, just like she did. So, and as you can see, her skill gauge is still halfway after using it. That is because it doesn't take the skill gauge off, okay? Something to think about when you're building some team comps. Boom. I want to go into, what Nat 4s and Nat 3s you should probably focus on. I'm going to do that in a different video because it goes more in depth on how easier it is to awaken and transcend Nat 3s and Nat 4s. Nat 5s are kind of a nice early game progression, but once you start getting into mid game and you're able to farm awakening stones, I think it's going to be a lot easier to super transcend to max level some Nat 4s and Nat 3s than it would a Nat 5, and it can still get you to a very well progressed end game just with Nat 4s and Nat 3s. Another thing to talk about is this new potential tab that was added in the update. Let's just ignore it though. I said I was going to talk about it, but let's ignore it. This is going to be super end game. This is when, after you're done using your stones to awaken all your characters to a max 5th awakening, because to get these little rainbow crystals here, you need to feed 3 supremes of every element to get a rainbow one. Really only do that if you do not need to awaken anyone else to that 5th awakening slot, because that's going to be, that extra piece of gear is going to be way more important than just some potential skills. All right, beginners, what else do you need to do to get through the game as quick as possible? First of all, on this left hand side, I completed them all, but there's quests, and then there's a game guide. Make sure to follow those completely. You don't want to do anything else besides that in the beginning, okay? That's gonna give you tons and tons of rewards, and you need to focus on that, and it'll progress you very quickly, okay? Second, you definitely want to go through and 3-star this whole entire map as you can. You'll get tons of rewards from just 3-starring the maps and each tile. I know a lot of you probably are new to the game. This tile map is confusing probably to you. When I started the game a year ago, I was definitely confused. But you're used to different games, right? Summoner's War, you know, Dungeon Hunter Champions, whatever. Okay, Epic 7. It's just a different type of map, and you get used to it, okay? But definitely 3-star every single tile that you can. The more you do, the more rewards you get. See, I'm still working on light and dark because I just got back to the game 9 months ago. It was super hard, but I found out that it's very easy now to 3-star these at the progression that I'm at in the game. But you get gold, you get light and twilight shards to summon a light and dark champion. You get all types of different things, skill buns, summons, you know, pieces of Zeta, which this is how you get a free Nat 5 ignore defense champion in the game, is by 3-starring as much tiles as you can to get fire Zeta shards. It's very important, so definitely make sure to, when you have time to manual the game, right, that's when you do the quests, you do the 3-starring of every tile, you do the game guide, do all those things, and you'll get nice rewards. Once you can't manual and you can only auto, you know, say you're busy, this game is perfect for a busy business family man like myself, right? So this game is perfect. So when you're busy and you have stuff to do, even if you're low level and say you can only farm stage 3 of Omen or stage 4 of Omen, or even, because awakening is important, stage 4 of Magic Dungeon, 5, whatever, Verdant, which is the nature dungeon, whatever you can, that's when you want to go on and auto those things, especially Omen, because getting these, I was doing it on my son's tablet, okay, and he's the one that got me back into the game, honestly. So once, you know, I was doing it, he's not a good farmer, he doesn't understand, he's 7 years old, okay, so I just ran Omen 4, I think, for him, like on auto repeat 3 times, and he got a bunch of 3-star and 4-star gear, which helped him extremely in other places just by, you know, farming tiles or whatever. So when you have time, auto it. You only need to do it a couple times in the lower levels because you really want to shoot for stage 8. I say stage 8 and to skip over 7 because 7 is nature element, and for Omen early game you really want to focus on water or fire teams, okay, and specifically water. So definitely just try to, that's your first goal, is like to shoot for Omen 8, just so you can start getting some good gear. Obviously 10 is your main goal, and then 11 is like your mid-game goal, okay? So work on that, get some gear, 3-star the tiles, complete the game guide, complete the quests, get the free Nat 5 ignore fire Zeta, and then move on to the next most important thing. One of those next most important things is going to be farming Omen for 6-star gear, okay? That should really be your first area and where you need to improve, because without the gear you're not going to be able to fully awaken your characters. You're not going to be able to progress in Hide or the element dungeons. Okay, definitely need gear, so let's shoot for that. For 8, 9, and 10, really the safest early progression is doing heroes that have damage over time skills. The reason being is you can build them tanky. They'll either be level 3 damage over time, or level 4 or level 5 damage over time skills, and it does a ton of damage. It's the safest way to do it. If you can use ignore defense or crit damage characters in Omen, but they need to be super geared. Okay, you need to be at the mid game point already to speed clear and with those crit damage and ignore defense builds. So early game you definitely want to do damage over time. Now when you start getting into Hide's Void, damage over time and ignore defense doesn't work, and it's only crit damage. Hide's Void, the higher levels anyway, you're gonna need tons of crit damage, and it's definitely more of a mid-game area, okay, because you need really good gear for that, and a good tank, and all 4 of your characters need to be 6-starred. And same with Omen 2. You can get away with a 5-star here and there in Omen's Void 10, but not an 11, because 11 will destroy you. So actually that's not true. I could probably do an 11. Alright, let's see what a Omen floor 11 can do with my newly pulled Light Lara, which is 5-star with no skill up, so it's a 70% chance to land her debuffs. Awesome. I'm bringing 2 fire characters into this water floor 11. Now my Fire Hide never dies because of he's my best character. He's transcended twice, level 64. The Light Lara is my worries, and the Fire Lucian is my worries as well. I'm bringing her because of the lower attack debuff that she brings, and a heal if I need it. But this is the safest kind of team you can bring to these Omen teams, because you can build them tanky. You don't need to build them with attack. You can build them speed HP, or speed defense HP, or whatever the case may be. You can build them tanky, and it's a lot more safe bringing damage over time. Now the damage over time runs usually take anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, so that sucks, right? But it's safe, and you can get to that point. You're not at that point where you can just nuke these dungeons down as quick as possible and think about speed clears. The only time you're going to be thinking about speed clears is when you're transcended 3 or 4 times on your nukers, and you're fully awakened and have 8 pieces of gear instead of 6. So don't think about that. You got to think about the early game, unless you're super whale, right? But this is a safe way to get past, to get to the gear that you need to get to the point, which is the end game, right? Fully transcended, fully geared, fully awakened. This is what you need. Now, the element dungeons, while this is running, the element dungeons where they drop the supreme stones in order to awaken over, I think, the 3rd awakening. Yep, when you get, no, it's the 3rd awakening is when you start needing supreme stones. They only drop in stage 11, or there's a daily quest that you can do in order to get 2 of the supreme stones of that element dungeon, okay? And that's in your daily quests every day. Definitely make sure to get that done every day, because you need to do as many as you can, because you're gonna need a ton, a buttload, okay? You're gonna need a ton to transcend and awaken, not transcend, but awaken your characters. So definitely think about doing that and making team comps for that, but you won't get there for a while, because the team comp makeups for the higher element dungeons is insane, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, let's look at stage 11 element. Okay, the verdant, which is nature. Okay, you actually need 4 ranged DPS servants with 7,000 CP or more. Okay, now I am close to it. I have 3, but one's water, one's dark, which is fine. I thought I had 3rd, but I guess I don't. I thought Fire Laura is a ranged unit. She is, but she's only at 6,885 because she's missing a piece of gear. What a scrub. So let's look at these examples, okay, that of floor 11, right? Fire dungeon, you need all tanks that are 7,000 CP or higher, okay? So you definitely need to find the right comps for those. Then you have the 11th floor for water, which drops the water supremes. You need 4 supports. Nature, like I said, it's all ranged. And then the light and dark. The light is all damage dealers. The dark is all oh, it doesn't do dark, whatever. But the magic dungeon, you can bring anybody. So I think the dark dungeon's actually all healers on the 11th floor. So 11th floor awakening, getting those supreme stones, that's going to be way farther out in the distance. However, you can farm floor 10 and you can combine runes. You see this backpack up here to the top. You can upgrade your element stones, okay? It's 20 for each of these fires, but you can do it as many times as you want as long as you have the greater fires. So awesome thing to have. You can upgrade the stones to supreme. You just need a lot. So in that note, you need to farm the awakening dungeons as much as possible when you get to that point. I think that's all I'll talk about today for new players and the beginning guide, focusing on what to focus on, because there's so much to talk about. There's so much to do. There's so much to see. This is kind of just getting you into the mindset of what you need to do first and how you're going to get there and where you're going to get in the future and what you need for that. So if you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe. I hope this helps you guys. Until the next video, I'll talk to you in the flip side. Peace.